And super excited to have you. We were supposed to do the drawing, so we're going to do the drawing today for the romance in the roles. So we're going to announce the winners today. Before that, we will get into the Q&A, a bunch of interesting questions, and we have one property to go through as far as whether this person should do a wholesale or whether this person should do a flip on the property or rental. So we're going to go through some of these numbers, and we'll just take the numbers and at a very, very basic kind of way of doing it. So having said that, let's jump into it. We do these lives every single Monday, Wednesday, and on Fridays. For everybody watching from downtown, or you live close to downtown, or you can make it Tony P. Networking. They're doing an event this week. So it's kind of business networking. We're all going to be there on Thursday. Is that correct? Yeah. Thursday at Lucid Motors. Yeah, so I'm going to be there speaking, and this is Lucid Motors downtown. Do we have the address? Okay, so we'll pull up the address for you, and maybe we'll go test drive a Lucid. I don't know what it is. It's some sort of an electric car, right? Like electric luxury car. So maybe this is a competition for Tesla. So it's a nice, fun little environment where we're going to do that. So maybe, Lori, we should do a meeting at the Rolls-Royce dealership downtown, right? That'd be fun because they have Bugattis there, there's Rolls-Royces there, they have Bentleys.
1350 North Cherry Avenue.
1350 North Cherry Avenue. So this is somewhere in Gold Coast area, right? Okay. All right. So, and then they have parking and everything over there, right? So that makes it easy for everybody to join us. And it is on Thursday at what time? 6:30 or so? 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. So, all right. So having said that, let's jump into it. So, and we're going to do the drawing at the end today. So how many people do we have? I think we had close to about 700 of all of these business cards that we collected. So it's just a big, a potload of these, and we'll pull out one name. So having said that, let's get started. So the questions today, the first question was, can you get a HELOC on a rental property? So on a rental property, so let's explain what is a HELOC. HELOC is home equity line of credit. So, and when they mean a home they mean a home that you live in. So you can't do a HELOC loan because a HELOC loan is meant for your personal residence, but can you refinance the property on a rental property and get basically equity out? Yes, you can do that, but you can't do a HELOC like you would do traditionally on a house that you live in. So let's just kind of explain that. So let's say on a rental property, you have, hey, can you swing the camera this way, man, for me, please? So I just want to kind of put this in writing because this will probably make it easier for you. So let's just say if you have a rental property and on the rental property, you have a $100,000 loan already, existing loan, right? So now you have, let's say, equity in the property. So the property is worth, ARV on the property is worth $250,000, right? That's basically what the property is worth, right? What you can do is this. You can refinance this property, and what is the refinance going to be? So refinance, they'll go up to 75%. Is there a product that'll go up to 80? Yes, but generally up to 75%. So 75% of this number. So what would that be? 200 would be 150. So 250 is going to be 250 times 0.75. So 187.5, right, equals 187,500. So what that would do is you'd basically pay the current lender $100,000, and then you would get in your pocket 87,500 minus the closing costs and the refi expense. So you'd get about, say, 85,000 or so ballpark in your pocket. So you can do a refinance, you can't do a HELOC, right? In a HELOC scenario, what would happen is that the existing loan would stay in place, and then you would do a home equity line of credit. So that's the difference between when you're doing a residential loan versus when you're doing a refinance on versus when you're getting money out on a rental property. So hopefully that makes sense. The next question was, hey, what are the loan products that are available today for a flip, and what do the numbers look like? So let me kind of give you our numbers, and this is going to depend on who you go to. So first, let's look at flips. So with flips, there are two types of loan products that are available, right? So one is going to be private money. If you go to private money. Now, I'm going to give you the numbers from Mastery, because outside, if you're borrowing money from your aunt, uncle, friend, blah, blah, you can borrow money from 5, 6, 7%, 8%, sometimes 10, 12, 15%, right? I don't know. It's going to depend. But in Mastery, right, there's millions of dollars of loans that are done within Mastery. The way that works is we do it at 2 points, right? And 1% a month for 6 months. So why 6 months? Because what we want is we want people to borrow. So this can be for a flip, or this can be for a fix and rent, right? So this is the front end of the loan. So generally you're borrowing the money for 6 months. So let's say you borrowed $200,000. So that would be for 6 months, period of 6 months. And that would be 2 points. So that would cost you $4,000 to borrow $200,000, and plus 1% a month. So 1% a month times 6 is going to be $12,000. So your cost of doing this deal is going to be $16,000. So now, for some of you that are watching, they're like, "Oh my God, Andrew, this is a high cost." Guys, if you borrow money from hard money, right, it's going to be about ballpark the same, which is it's going to be probably about 2 points. If you borrowed the money from hard money, it's going to end up being somewhere around 2 points, and you're going to pay somewhere around 11 to 13%, right? Now, with hard money, the difference is going to be is here, if you're doing a loan out of Mastery, right, that this is only for people from Mastery, you don't have to come out with a penny out of your pocket, right? But if you're doing hard money, basically you're borrowing money from hard money. If you have experience, so EXP, experience, it's going to be 10% off the purchase price. So let's say you're buying the property for $150,000. You're going to put $50,000 into rehabbing the property. Then of $150,000, you're going to have to come up with 10%. So about $15,000, and you're going to have to show 3 months, 4 months worth of reserves. So say about $22,000 total you're going to need for that deal, and $15,000 you're going to have to bring as down payment, and then the rest of it. Now, the other thing is this, that of the rehab cost. So let me just move this over, right? So for hard money, the way it would work is $150,000 is the purchase price, and $50,000 is your rehab. So this is purchase, and this is rehab. So of this amount, if you have experience, you're going to have to bring 10% experience, EXP. If you're newer, or you haven't done 3, 4, 5 deals, 8 deals, then it's going to be 15% of this number, right? New. So then you're going to have to bring 15%. And this is funded at 100%. So what would happen? So the way it would happen is at the time of closing, let's just say you have experience, just because it's easier to put those numbers, of $150,000, you would have to have $15,000 as down payment, $15,000 as down payment. Now, what else do we need? Well, we need 3 or 4 months worth of payments to show as reserves. So let's say the payment every single month on a loan like this is somewhere around, say, $1,500 a month, right? Or $1,600 a month. You would need $1,600 times 4, right? So you need that in your account. So 6, 4 is 24. So that would look like 1, 2, 6. So about $6,400. So 15,000 plus 6,400 plus some points towards closing costs and blah, blah, blah. Another probably $3,000 or so, right? So that's what you would have to have minimum in the account to do this deal. So about $24,000, somewhere in that ballpark, right? To do this deal if you're doing that with hard money in today's market. Now, this is where a lot of times people think about, Andrew, what is the interest rate? Guys, the interest rate is going to be higher today, right? That's just kind of the market we're in. 2 points, somewhere around 10 to 12 is probably where you're going to be, pretty much even with hard money. And the way this works is the refinance part of it. The rehab part of it is that you're going to have to put out, right, so this is the money you need to close the deal. But on top of that, you're going to need another 20,000, 15 to 20,000 bucks, because the way this money is released, even though they fund 100% of this money, the way it is released is that you have to basically go do, say, 15 to 20,000 in work. Then they'll come and inspect it, and then they'll release that. Then again, the second part, then again, the third part, right? So you get all of it reimbursed back, but you have to do the work first, and then that money gets released to you. So that's kind of how that thing works. So it's important to keep that in mind, that as to how much money you need. So you need about 2024 for closing, but then again, you need another 15,000. So probably a safe bet would be somewhere around $40,000 in the deal you would need to really do a flip. Now, if you're doing it the Mastery way, right, the way we do it in Mastery, you don't need any money out of pocket. So let me kind of give you guys an example of this. So like I have a property that I'm buying, and on this particular property, so this property happens to be in North Riverside. So on this particular property, right, the purchase price is going to end up being somewhere around $120,000. $120,000 is my purchase. And then rehab, and rehab wise, rehab is going to be another $40,000, right? So if I have to do it the Mastery way, how much do I need? I need a total of $160,000. So if I need to do it from Mastery way, how much personal money do I have to come up with? I have to come up with $0 out of pocket, because I can borrow this entire amount, right? Now, if I do this with hard money, if I was to use hard money, I would need about 10% of this amount, which is going to be about $12K, plus I need 3 months worth of reserves. So on this type of amount, I'm going to need 1,600 times 4, so about $6,400. On top of that, 6,400 plus I will need some amount from here, right? $40,000 rehab. So let's say an additional, let me add first so this is going to be payments, right? Plus I need a $6,400, excuse me, losing my mind. Plus I need another 15,000 for the first amount of money that I need to put in to do the rehab, and then I'll get it reimbursed back. So basically I need about 12 plus 15, that's going to be 27, plus another this. So I need about $23,000 to do the deal, right? As far as with hard money. So that's the difference. Here, I wouldn't need anything out of pocket. Here, I would need about 23,000 or so out of pocket. Part of it's going to get reimbursed back to me, but that's kind of somewhere is what I'm going to need to do this deal. Now, most people would say, well, when would you do this? Well, of course, if you're from Mastery, you go that route, right? It's easier for you. Now, you could do 1 or 2 loans at a time from Mastery. We're not going to let you do unlimited amount of loans, because it's meant for people to get started. It's not meant for them to abuse the system, right? Hard money is you're going to do it this way. So how do I personally do it? So The way I do it is I use some of my own money on a bunch of the deals. Sometimes I'll use mastery money. Usually I don't. I've recently used it a little bit because I just bought too many properties, and I had a lot of money out, 2.3 million, 4 million, 3 million almost out of my own pocket in terms of cash. And then hard money, right? So you do a combination thereof. Now, when I started with $20,000 that I had done a HELOC on my home, right? So that's all I had. So I would use that. I borrowed another $20,000 from a friend of mine in a partnership, and that's how I started. So for most of us, when we start, it's humble beginnings, right? It's easy today. It's been 12 years, right? 12, 14 years now, 2008 through 2018. That's going to be 10 years, 10 years. Now we're in 23. So that's almost 16 years, right? So that's a good amount of time. So it's not like this has happened overnight. It's been a process, obviously. So hopefully that makes some sense. Now, if you're doing, that's for the fix and flip. What are the rates for if you're doing a rental or a refinance type of thing? So for a refinance today, your rates are going to be somewhere around 1.5, I'm going to say 1.5 to 2 points, somewhere over there. And then your rates are going to be somewhere from 8 to 9.5, right? Or it may be 8.3, 8.4. They're definitely going to be over 8. Now, there are 3 types of loans. There are actually 2 types of loans you can do here. You can do a 30-year fixed, and 30-year fixed generally is going to be 3, 2, and 1. What does that mean? That it's going to have a 3, 2, 1 prepayment penalty. Some companies have a 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, meaning that if you do a pre-payoff, right, that's going to be your prepayment. So it's kind of one of those situations that that's what you're going to have. Or you can do a 5-year lock type of product. So this is going to be basically with some of the hedge funds are going to give you this 30-year thing. Now, your rate is going to be higher, right? That's just how it is for a 30-year fixed. And you're locked into a 3-2-1 penalty or a 5-4, 3-2-1, depending on the lender you're working with. Now, other option is you go to some of the portfolio lenders, which is a small bank, right? Small bank, not Chase, not one of those, the small community type of banks. They will give you anywhere from 5 to 7 year. So 5-year to 7-year, most of them will be 5, and their rate is going to be about half a point less, right? Half a point to maybe 0.75 less in terms of what they can offer you. So this is definitely the cheaper way to go, right? Definitely. But just understand, in 5 to 7 years, and this is going to be a 25-year amortization. This is the 30-year amortization. Right? So it depends on what do you prefer. Now, what I see a lot of people also doing with this type of product is just to make sure that payments are down, and they're going to refinance once the interest rates basically go down. I don't think they're going down in the any short term. But some people say that if they may go down, what they may do is they may do a interest only loan. Is that right for you? Is that not right for you? You have to decide that, right? I don't do that generally. That's just not how I like to do it. But there are some people who are like, man, the interest rates are just high, so I want to do an interest-only loan, right? I don't prescribe to that theory. I'm of the opinion that for a normal person, you should try to have 4 or 5 houses paid off. And I genuinely mean paid off in 7 to 10 years, right? That's the first goal you should have. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm going to scale up, I'm going to do this, and that's fine. That's totally fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but the first goal should be, how do I get 5 to 7 paid down? Beyond that, guys, it doesn't matter how much you want to scale up. But first, you have to get yourself into a comfortable position rather than just trying to basically put as much leverage as possible. So this is just my personal opinion. Now, the next question was interesting because the next question is, can this be done, meaning the mastery, can this be done nationwide or is it applicable? So number one, yes, it's applicable because whatever we do, which is 257, 2 years, 5 properties, get them paid off in 7. In some areas, in some price ranges, it's going to be more like in 10 years, right? Is it possible in Chicago? Of course. I mean, there's 18,000 plus houses that are owned. It's possible 100%. Is it possible in Rockford? Right? 100%. Like in Rockford, I'll give you guys an example. We have Victor Tellez, right? I don't know how many properties he has, 35 properties or so. We have America, we have Fannie, there's so many people, right? Because Rockford, in fact, numbers, if you really buy them, are even better, right? In Rockford area. If you look at Indiana, we have a bunch of people from Mass Street that are buying in Indiana. Does it work in Dallas? We have Matthew in Dallas. The formula works. You just have to tweak it, right? You have to tweak it in terms of the particular area. So in Dallas, for example, what's going to happen is your price is going to be higher, so you're going to pass up more properties. It's just a fact of life. You want to do numbers like we do, you're going to have to be more selective, but you're going to have much more appreciation at the same time. So you may have to do a property or two more to get the same amount of cash flow. So you, of course, have to adjust. Now you go to Rockford, you're going to have to be more mindful that some of the property pricing may not be as much, but Rockford lately has exploded, right? I don't know why. It's because the hospitals, I don't know what the deal is, but it seems to have done very, very well. Indiana, we're seeing that. Like, it's crazy, right? What's happened in Indiana, be it Dallas, be it Florida. At the end of the day, the numbers are the numbers, right? 3 things we focus on. Number 1, how much equity in the property. Number 2, how much cash flow. Now, does that mean that some areas will have a little bit less cash flow? Absolutely. Happens in Chicago. Certain parts of Chicago, I can get a lot more cash flow. But then the quality of the property and the quality of the tenant may not be superb, right? I may have to compromise a little bit. There are other parts of town where I may get a little bit less cash flow, but the quality of the tenant is superb. The quality of the property is superb. The quality of the long-term future for that area is absolutely superb. And so will I compromise a little bit? Sure. But I'm not going to compromise on all 3 things. I may compromise a little bit. Example I'll give you guys. So we have a property in Schaumburg, right? And this was a condo not a condo, it's like a townhouse type of thing, right? When we bought it, you would think in the middle of Schaumburg, it would rent like that. You'd think. It didn't. I mean, for like just 5-6 months, it was sitting in the middle of Schaumburg at a great location. First tenant we put in, eviction. Second tenant we put in, a lot of problems. After that, boom, it's just been beautiful. Sometimes that happens, guys. It's like, I wish I could tell you, oh my God, you're going to buy a perfect property, it's going to be perfect. It's not. Right? This is called, we're building a business, right? There's nothing, the only way everything is going to be perfect is you just don't do anything. Right? You just don't do anything. Because if you buy a car, is it going to break down at some point? Of course. Otherwise, buy a brand new car, then you're going to pay that much for it, right? So just understand, and we all experience this at a different level. Every time I want to grow, I feel frustration every single time. There's no growth without frustration. Or otherwise, I can keep doing the same old and keep getting the same results. Anytime you want to go from wherever you are to the next level, you're going to have problems. Why? Because you're learning, you're growing, you're doing more, right? And this is going to happen. You have, like, if I have one rental, then I'm going to have one to deal with. The problem is, if that goes vacant, now I have one rental. Oh my God, right? And this happens. Like Rahul, I'll never forget this. For years, he used to tell me every year we would buy more and more properties, and every year come October, November, December, he'd tell me, man, we have 4 of them, they're sitting vacant. We have 8 of them sitting vacant. Now, each year, the number would basically kind of either remain the same or go up a little bit. And I'm like, Rahul, listen, so this was, I don't know if it was last year, it was a couple of years ago. He tells me that, man, we have like 8 rentals sitting vacant. In winter, it's not that we couldn't find tenants, we just couldn't find the right tenants, right? In October, November, December, January, that's just what you face. Come February 15th, boom. You can't keep anything vacant because everything is occupied. And this happens every year. And each year the number would go up a little bit. I'm like, listen, man, when you have 4 properties and you have 2 vacancies, it's a big problem, right? But when you have 10 and you have 1 vacant, no big deal. When you have 40 and you have 2 or 3 vacancies, it's no big deal. When you have 100 and you have 5 vacancies, it's no big deal. It's all relative, right, to what you have going on. Like now, I have a bunch of Airbnbs. The more that I have, you're going to have small types of things happen, right? It's just nothing you can do about it. But now, only way to avoid that is just not do as much, right? Do less or do nothing, you're not going to have any problems. So the difference between successful people and not is not that successful people don't have problems. Successful people have learned how to deal with problems. Or another way of saying it is that successful people are mentally tougher, right? That's just what it is. That they have to learn that, guess what? If you own a hotel, are some guests not going to be happy? Probably. Are there going to be problems? Probably. Now, you can be that one person, oh my God, I don't want to own a hotel. What if something happens? What if somebody slips and falls? What if, well, the millions of people who own hotels, right? Hundreds of thousands of people who own hotels. Does that mean that that's happening to everybody? They're getting sued every day? No, right? It's called, the bigger the business you want to build, the mentally stronger you're going to have to be, because guess what, right? I mean, sometimes people will say stuff. I'll post a video. Oh my God, this property, I think I screwed up. I'm only making $40,000. And guess what happens? People put a comment. Oh, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. Or oh, he's full of himself. He's making $40,000. Most people don't make that kind of money. Now here I am making fun of me because I feel I am not making the amount of money I should make on a property. But guess, I mean, oh, he's a scam because guess what? This is not real. Well, it's not real. With 15, 20,000 properties in Chicago that are owned out of Mastery, it's not real. I mean, I'm not sure I'm crazy or you're crazy. Somebody's nuts. But it's okay, right? I don't like those comments, and it used to bother me. Now, it's a part of doing business. Guess what? Not everybody is going to like you. Not everybody is going to appreciate it. And they don't have to, right? It's like, think about this way, guys, right? God couldn't convince the whole human race that there's one God. God couldn't convince the whole human race that there is a God. Some people are, well, there's no God. I don't think. Other people think, well, no, my God is better than your God, right? If God couldn't accomplish these things, you and I are not going to convince everybody of everything. And it is 100% okay. And the reason I say that is a lot of times most of us get hung up. I get hung up all the time, right? I'm the first one to admit. And you want to succeed, be mentally strong. You feel beat up, guess what? Nobody cares, right? Nobody cares when I beat myself up or other people, right? That if you're going to try something, just understand this is a part of growth. Right? And you just have to be okay with it. If you're not going to do much. It's just that simple. Happens to me all the time that people make a comment and it gets to me. I feel bad about it. And then I have to tell myself, hey, it's like, hey, man, you have two choices. Either quit doing what you're doing. And the other day, this was the funniest thing happened. Somebody shows up at the office. It's no joke. Lori says, like, this guy shows up at the office and he's like, well, I really don't like Andrew. Okay, great. Don't like Andrew. That's fine. I mean, Andrew doesn't like Andrew. So forget about you not liking Andrew, right? I mean, it's like, who cares? And she's like, why are you here? Like, no, but I like the other content. I like what Gina puts out. I like what Harry puts out. I like what Pablo. Okay, great. No big deal. Listen to when they're talking. Listen to when other mastery students are talking. It's okay. You don't have to like me. If you appreciate the content, we try our level best. If you don't like it, it's okay, right? There's a million other people that are 10 times better than I am. Please go listen to them. I hope you still grow, and I hope you still do well, right? So the next question was, well, I'm buying a property. Actually, let me address this. Okay, the next one is, how do I get a smoke smell out of the property? This is something that we have dealt with. So I'll give you an example. I have a property in Antioch. We do that as an Airbnb. And I don't know what it is. Like the lady that was there, absolute nut. She was a nut. Like she's one of those people, first time I go to her house, this never happened to me before, right? And she's just a nutty lady. She's like, oh, show me your ID, right? And I'm like, okay, here we go. I show her driver's license. She's reading. I don't know what the hell she's reading if I'm underage. She's got a mask on. She's got a mask under. I mean, this is a property I bought last year. So this is after Corona. 2 pairs of gloves, blah, blah, blah. Just crazy, right? The whole house inside, nice big house, but almost a 3,000 square foot house. And she put the property on the MLS for $370 or $375. I bought it for $200. because she would never show the property to anybody, right? Literally on the mailbox, she's got big duct tape because she's like, oh, they're tracking me. I'm like, who? She's like, they know where I live. I'm like, who they know where I live, right? No mailbox, no post. She wouldn't allow any mail. She had some PO box somewhere. She wouldn't tell me where. I'm like, you send FedEx? No FedEx, no UPS. I mean, just, anyways, one of those people. I buy the house, 200,000, and I'm all excited. And she would burn incense in the house all the time, right? So I could have a very strong incense smell. Now, incense generally smell pleasant. Like if you're from India, you're kind of used to it because that's something that we do back home, right? But so I'm like, it didn't bother me that much until we rehabbed the property, get the whole property rehabbed, all new doors, whatever, because there was this smell. Sam kept saying, hey man, there's a smoke smell. I'm like, what are you talking about? Right? She's like, oh, it's all the incense she's burning. I'm like, man, when I was in that house, yeah, it was locked. There was that smell, which, somebody who doesn't open the doors, windows, everything is shuttered, just this stale air, like there's no fresh air coming in type of smell. Then we get to it and it's not that. It's smoke smell. So number one, the issue was, so I get to the property and I'm like, clearly it smells like a log cabin. If you've ever had that smell where, the air, instead of going through the chimney, some of the smoke gets into the property and it has that stale smoke type of smell. Now, was it really bad? It wasn't, but it was just a bit bothersome in a normal house. In a log cabin, that kind of thing, you expect that. But in a normal house, you don't expect that. It's a nice 2-story, 3,000 square foot house. So it has a smoke smell. So the number one, what you have to look at it is, where is that smoke smell coming from? Is that coming from a fireplace? Is that because somebody was smoking in the house? This lady was not smoking in the house, right? Sometimes some houses reek of like smoke, like people smoking inside the house, right? Like terrible, cigars are terrible. Right? Once that smell gets everywhere, right, it does not go. I mean, it's just tough to get rid of that smell. Now, you can do a couple different things. You can run an air purifier in there, but one of the best things that you can do is you use what is called a ozone machine, right? An ozone machine, and depending on how much you want to invest in, you can buy an ozone machine for $200, $300, $400 online, Amazon. Right? It generates ozone. You should not be in the property while this is running, and then it'll kill the smoke smell. Right? It's the best way of treating it. And you can run it in the basement, you can run it on the main floor, you can run it upstairs, and 8 hours, 10 hours, couple days, depending on how strong the smell is. But please understand, you have to make sure that the source of the smoke smell has to be gone. And this particular property, we've never struggled with this before. Right? But in this particular property, we did struggle with it a lot, right? And we're still kind of dealing with it because the smoke smell would go away and would come back. And so I'm thinking, is it coming from the chimney, right? Because that's the culprit. In this particular property, the deal was this, that as soon as I got there, and I'm like, I can smell smoke. This is a smoke smell. This is not a somebody smoking like cigarette smell. This is a smoke smell, like stale, like if you have wood thing that you burned in the morning, even though the fire's out, you have that particular smell. That was the smell that this house had. And I go and hit the switch because it was kind of a little dark, getting dark outside. And I hear this recirculating fan. Zzz. So what would happen is every time somebody would go there and hit the lights for the living room, the lights would come on, and the button right next to it was for a recirculating fan. So what it was doing was it was recirculating the air out of the fireplace into the living room. Now, the time you're supposed to turn that fan on is once the fireplace is up and running, the smoke is being drawn out. That fan is supposed to basically put the heat into the house. But if you get that thing running, what happens is all the cryolite or whatever that the char stuff is, that smell comes to the house. That's what I suspect that was happening. I don't know that for sure, but that's the only source of smoke smell in that property. So generally, now there are some, there are some smoke eater kind of devices, some of the other stuff. But the thing that is the best to do that, even with houses that have caught fire, they use that the ozone machine is what they use. And then there are products that they sell at Home Depot that you can basically cover up that area. With the fireplaces, you have to sometimes get a chimney cleaned. There are logs that they sell, which those logs, it kind of burns the accumulated soot sort of thing. But a lot of times it's a matter of getting the chimney properly cleaned and making sure that that's the issue. But at the end of the day, you have to get to the source of the smoke smell. Where is it coming from? Right? If it's in the carpets, if people were smoking, if all of that, you got to get rid of, obviously. Right? Sometimes if somebody was really, really, really a bad smoker, the tar from nicotine gets on the walls. Right? And it gets on the windows, especially that plastic vinyl. And it's like literally, like if you touch it, right, it has that sticky sort of a thing. It's the nicotine and the chemicals from that. Now, I've seen people even wash the walls, like literally wash the walls with a wet mop, right? I was like, first time I ever heard it, I was like, never heard that concept, but I know people have done it. Same thing with windows. Vinegar mixed with water generally works really, really well to really wipe down. I forget, Xenix actually had a property like that. He flipped it in Arlington Heights, right? I still remember it was just absolutely atrocious. And they did not change the window. I mean, the rest of the things they got rid of, but this vinyl on the windows had this yellowish kind of substance that had gone on there. And that was because of the nicotine. And they just wiped, I mean, they just basically thoroughly, like literally with the sponge, with the soap, cleaned it, and then with vinegar solution, like a part mix, part water, part vinegar, they cleaned all the windows literally by hand, one by one by one. Tedious, but it's definitely effective. But the best method of doing it is either you rent the machine from, you can go to Rental Max or one of those places. Even Home Depot has the ozone machines you can rent from there, or you can buy one. We have a couple that we invested in just because of the amount of properties that we own. So hopefully that helps. Having said that, I was supposed to go through the calculation for a property, but just because of time, we will do that on Wednesday. So we'll go through this particular property that actually somebody from Mastery is doing. And their question was, hey, man, I know I can wholesale the property, but should I really be keeping the property for a flip or for a rental? What do you think is more profitable? So in that solution, we're going to go through all three options, but I'll go through it on Wednesday rather than rushing through it right now. Now, having said that, we had the drawing to do. So it's basically a drawing for somebody for the Romance in the Rolls. So we've done this drawing from time to time. And every year at the Chicago Build, so if you're at the Chicago Build Expo, you probably have your name here. So we have about 700 of these business cards, and we're supposed to draw one name out of somebody that wins the Rolls Royce. We'll send a chauffeur for you, and we'll send you to somewhere nice downtown for dinner. So last time it was somebody from the RIA that won. What's his name? Ivantek, I forget. It's like something Ivanko or something like that. Him and his wife, and they ended up going to the restaurant that is in Trump Tower. That's where they wanted to go. It was either Trump Tower or Signature Room before it closed, and it was kind of a cool night for them with the rolls and with the stars in the headliner, the whole 9 yards, right? And we sent a chauffeur to make them feel special for a nice night out. So today we're going to have one person win, and when we announce the name, please make sure you contact us, contact Lori, so that we can schedule that drawing for you. Having said that, let's pick out one person. Hopefully it's somebody new. So here we go. Anthony Romero. Romero. It's Anthony Romero is the winner. So Anthony, you, hopefully your spouse or significant other or your wife, whatever the case may be. If you don't have a spouse, significant other, or somebody, just so it may be a great day to ask somebody out on a date that you've always wanted. Say, hey, we're going to do Romance in the Rolls. It'll be a fun night, and we're going to have fun. So having said that, it's Anthony Romero. Congratulations. Having said that, thanks a bunch, and we will talk to you on Wednesday. And remember, on Friday, we're going to be downtown at Lucid Motors for, Thursday. Sorry, Thursday, we're going to be Lucid Motors downtown, 6 o'clock, networking. I'm going to be I'm going to be the main speaker, but it's a great time to network. It's downtown. We'll hopefully, maybe we can test drive a cool electric car, and that should be fun. So having said that, and remember, for everybody watching, if you're from Mastery, you need to register for the Halloween Bash on Friday. Good times, right? Super excited because it's a big event for the year. Again, that's Friday for the Mastery Bash. Having said that, thanks a bunch, guys, and congratulations, Anthony Romero. We'll talk to you on Wednesday. Have a good day.